August 17th, 2022 to order with adoption of the agenda. You make that motion. So Nicole's making the motion. I'm going to second it. All in favor? We're both in favor. Adoption of the minutes from the Special Finance Committee meeting of May 31st. March, pardon me. Yeah, whoa, really
Wow.
going back. Okay, so moved by Nicole, seconded by Gary. All in favor? Motion's carried. Any business arising from those minutes, Nicole? Seeing none,
No.
we're going to go on to new business, grant and aid request report. Tanya, it's up
Yes.
to you.
So we've had 2 new requests for grant and aid. So as you know, the policy allows for 2 intakes, one at the end of February and one at the end of May. And so we had 2 more requests for support or grant and aid requests before the May deadline. And so, yeah, so we got one from the Indigenous Friendship Society looking for free rental of the facility for $153. And then we've got one from Community Connections looking for free adult bus tickets for $2,000. So for now we've been, for now we've been doing the bus tickets through the grant and aid program. We may want to look at something different in the future because the amount that they're needing is increasing.
Yeah.
But for now, this is already a process that's being set up, and I think it can be reviewed before the next intake in February of next year.
Right. Is that something we can direct to Taha Atia about with the property reduction plan?
Possibly, and I'm going to reach out definitely to Taha and Ingrid and just see. It may be one of those things where, you know, we support different. There are some things that the city just supports through the budget process on an annual basis.
Right.
And this may be part of it where maybe we put some budget into the social development cost center type thing to fund this kind of stuff. And that might be what we do. It might just be easier to just put some money in there. And then when they want bus tickets, we just take it out of that. So actually making it a permanent budget line item, because it definitely is, they're definitely requiring replacement tickets much quicker than they used to.
Well, and that doesn't surprise me either, especially as we improve the transit system and we roll in the shuttle service. If it becomes more functional, more people are going to want to use it. From my understanding in the past, it was dysfunctional enough that people wouldn't take the free tickets because it was too much work to use the bus to get around. Which kind of rolls into, like, that was part of the conversation we'd had at the last meeting when we were talking about grants and aid and this kind of work was how do we realistically outline what are the resources we have available to us and that the community can contribute beyond some of these metrics we've used in the past so that we can be more transparent and inclusive in that work.
It's definitely a policy that needs updating. It was updated by Tim when he was CAO. It hasn't been touched since then. And it's definitely been on the to-do list. Maybe when we finally gonna try and rehire for a deputy again, and then maybe we can get it tackled then.
Fair enough.
So having said that, it was on Shanna's desk when she first started, and she didn't find the time to finish it either. So maybe I just have to contract it out.
It's one of those non-urgent but important things that it's tied into that strategy direction quite a bit.
And it might just be one of those things that we just contract out to somebody to say, here, help us with this. Go look at what everybody else has done. And bring us best practices, right?
Totally. And like I said, if it gets referred, if this aspect of it is looped onto Taha Atia's desk as part of that poverty reduction plan update, I imagine he may be able to come up with some suggestions on where to go next with that work. So that we can outline what are those resources we're using and how we're clarifying what the community's contribution is to that work.
No, it's a good point. So,
all right. So you want to put a motion on the table to accept this?
I sure do.
Okay, I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? I think we've covered it. Okay, all in favor? We're good to go. All right, so that's passed. Moving on to permissive tax exemption.
Yes, and so this year the list is the same. The one exception is there are 2 new requests, and one is from an organization called Community Partners for Others Relief Society. They're the ones that are operating out of the Big Eddy, in that where the finning used to be, and that little commercial area. So that's that operation. So, and then the other one is Community Connections new building that they have. So they're asking for permissive tax exemption on that one as well. And so we've estimated the taxes based on the assessed values of the building. And because they both happen to be business class currently, that's what the taxes are. It's interesting because business is not really business, it's business and other under the property classification system. So then you get some of these businesses where they don't fit any other classification. And so they get lumped in here into business, and they end up paying these quite high taxes because of it, when really they're charitable organizations, right? And so we have confirmed the building that Community Partners for Others Relief is actually a leased building from a business, a company, a corporation owns it, but BC Assessment has confirmed that as long as there's a lease in place, that it's acceptable. And because the permissive tax exemption bylaw lists them as the leasee, that they're the ones getting it, if they were to not be leasing it anymore, then the taxes would become payable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So
All right.
makes sense to me. Quick clarification. Are these recommendations that are going to go to council to be adopted on the next meeting?
So so the recommendation is that we prepare the bylaw based on what's being presented to the finance committee.
Okay,
and so
gotcha.
so that's because this has to go through a bylaw process. So and
Understood.
the first, usually we do, I can't remember the dates, but anyways, it'll be the first meeting in September, then there's 2 weeks of advertising, then it gets adopted at the end of October.
And that would still be this current council?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess it would be, yeah.
I want to be mindful of that because I am remembering our first council meeting where we had something surprise us and it did not go well. So I would really like to avoid having something.
Yeah, I'll look at the dates
through
and
to
see.
the next council.
Yeah, I actually, you know what, it may be. I'll have to look at the dates and see.
Well,
I hadn't thought about that.
The swearing in will be beginning of November, first week of November. So.
Oh, okay. So then, So
right. So the October meeting should still be us.
Yeah, it has to be passed before the end of October.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we should be fine.
Yeah.
All right, good. So make the motion. And Nicole, you want to second that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so all in favor, motion's carried. Good. All right, so that will basically go to council, and then we'll talk about that in council chambers.
Yeah.
All right.
It'll go first week of September, or first meeting in September.
Great.
Okay. Yep. All right. So we're basically at the end of what we need to do. Right.
We are.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
So you want to make a motion to terminate, Nicole? I'll second that motion. All in favor? We're going to now terminate at 3:13 p.m.